Hey everybody, welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe.
Today we'll be talking about returning to the self, living from the inside out.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait.
Me too.
Stay tuned. Welcome to Find Your Lady Tribe. I am your host, Brenda Ridgely, author, speaker, and midlife women's coach. This season is dedicated to your midlife mindset, so be sure to subscribe now to be notified of a new episode each week. I am honored to be joined this season by co-host Tressen Bryant of Love and Life Coaching. She is a mindset, trauma, and relationship expert. Join our inner circle to be the first to know about retreats, workshops, events, and receive tribe-building tips. Go to tinyurl.com/Find Your Lady Tribe to join. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back.
Hello.
So today I'm sitting here with my co-host, Tressen Bryant of Love and Life Coaching, and we are going to chat about returning to the self. And can you tell me a little bit about what you mean by that? Tressen's expertise is in, working with clients and their mindset and growth and inner being stuff. And so when you said that to me, returning to the self, well, I kind of go, I think I know what that means. But
Right.
but tell me what are we talking about?
Well, thank you for asking that, Brenda. We all have a meaning that we place on everything that we hear about. So for me, what returning to the self means is not looking for any love, safety, or belonging on the exterior in any of our relationships, anything like that. Returning inward and really living from the inside out, beginning each moment of our day from who you feel like you truly are. So returning inward instead of looking for everything on the exterior in order to make you who you are.
Well, and that's challenging too, I think, because the moment you wake up, things start coming at you. And
They do.
you really kind of have to make a decision and create a practice of sorts. I mean, and that's probably what you help people do in that. But I guess you have some questions that for me and for ourselves and for our listeners to maybe help get us on track.
Yes, I do. And what you've just mentioned really makes me think of mastering the moment. So it's literally about consciously creating the life that you want to have. And in order to do that, as we know, we're human. We fall back. We don't always keep our thinking on track. We don't always surround ourselves with the best environment or those types of things. And that's just because we're learning. Those challenges in life are meant to make us grow and learn and expand. And it's when you can consciously create and master each moment and be aware of yourself, what you truly want, what you love, what you don't want, your intuition, all those types of things. You're absolutely right. It's totally the way you live your life, and it is a practice.
Yeah, and so are we going to also talk about it? And I might be getting ahead of myself because I don't know what you're going to ask, but
Okay.
as things, even if we have a practice and we're like really intentional, trying to remember that about what we really want and who we really are from the get-go, things happen and kind of get us sidetracked.
Yes.
And sometimes things seem to happen that we're like, I didn't ask for that, I didn't draw that in.
Yeah.
And strategies and tools to get back on track or see it as a gift.
Yes.
Or something that was for me instead of to me.
Exactly. So I am a firm believer that we attract every single experience into our life, no matter what it is. And so when you say to yourself, I'm 100% responsible for everything that's coming into my experience right now, there's no assertion on anyone's part. There's only my vibration and what I'm attracting to myself. So I do believe that every instance that comes into our life, whether it be a challenge or a happy moment, it's something that we attracted to ourselves. And so it's what you decide to do with it and how you decide to think about it that makes all the difference in the world. So when you have one of those challenges come up, or maybe you have a person come into your existence that doesn't feel quite right or something feels a little off, it's an opportunity, as long as you can view it that way, to say, hold on a second. I'm returning to myself. What do I care about? What do I love? What am I feeling right now? What's my intuition saying? And use that as your guidance instead of going, gosh, dang it, why does this stuff always happen to me? So and so is making my life uncomfortable. And we're going to talk a little bit about living unconditional and being a lover of reality, because then you have 100% truth. When something is showing you, you told me a long time ago, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. It's the same thing with the challenges that we have come into our life. They're trying to actually show you something that you need to know, as long as you can view it that way.
Awesome. Well, so give us your first question.
Okay, so this is for the audience, and I appreciate you guys being here today and listening to Brenda and I share with you. And I just wanted to know, these are great questions to ask yourself, to know kind of where to start living from the inside out and returning to yourself. In what ways do you find yourself looking to something exterior to help you feel better? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Like, can you think of some things, and not to put you on the spot, but what's something where you might look to something exterior to help you feel better?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, you even said it before, sometimes, well, someone's making me feel that way. And I have to catch myself to say that they're not my feelings are mine, and it's not on them.
Yes.
So people, exterior, I mean, physically, things that, how I feel about, different parts of my body sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you're talking about? Is that exterior enough?
Yes, because that's actually perfect. Because we respond or react to everything in our environment. Our brains are constantly making meaning out of everything. And so, maybe you go to the pool and you are feeling a little bit different in your suit because you see someone else and you compare and start to despair a little bit. Or maybe quite the opposite. Maybe you've been going to the gym and slaying it for the last 2 months and you're feeling fantastic. So our environment does have a lot to do with the way that we feel. Ultimately, it's when we return inward that we actually get to make the choice on how we feel. And so every time we have something on the exterior, I think we need to pay attention to how we actually judge it, because we can't judge anything on the outside of ourselves unless we know it to be true or have felt it some way ourselves. Because if you can't judge something and place a label on it unless you can see it in yourself. So if you see something that feels false, you felt a sense of falseness within yourself at some point in time. Otherwise, you wouldn't recognize what false is. Okay. So when we go in and judge, or we view an outside exterior experience and it's making us feel some type of way, whether it be positive or negative, it's the opportunity then that the universe is giving you to return inward.
It's funny you said that, because this makes me think of just last night. Okay, for dinner I made this beautiful salad from my garden lettuce, tomatoes, beets. I mean, everything from my garden that I could possibly put in it, and it was fabulous and wonderful. And it had smoked salmon on it, and it was just like a really good salad, right?
Yum.
And then so I'm like, okay, I'm all proud of myself because I had this salad, but then I got a little snacky later, and I had some potato chips, and I had some thin mint covered pretzels. And by the time I went to bed, I was like feeling, at the end of the day when you've had just that kind of stuff, and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going, bleh. I just like did that bleh to myself. And then I said, you know what? It's the end of the day.
Yeah.
By morning, you're going to be, it's not going to feel this way anymore.
Yeah.
I gave myself just a little bit of grace. You're okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
I love that, because that's one of the most human things that we all do. Right? It's just being able to say, I'm a human being. It's okay. And I absolutely am going to choose not to beat myself up over this silly little thing. And tomorrow is a new day. Everything is temporary. There's nothing permanent.
Right.
It's the observation that I want people to get to.
Yeah.
Mastering that moment that you did last night, where you could have continue to beat yourself up over it, which is actually would have been so silly if you'd done so, because you don't deserve that treatment from your own self. And it also kind of takes some of the joy out of eating the thin mint pretzels.
I know. They were wonderful.
Enjoy those little suckers as much as you can and go, wow, that was a little treat. Tomorrow I'm not going to choose that for myself. I'm going to go back to my beautiful, amazing salad, which let's not appreciate how amazing the salad was. I mean, I'm looking at the garden. It's right over here. I wish you could see it, but it's beautiful. So you could just return to self-love, which means now we have gratitude, we have acceptance, we have comfort, we have all those things, but you didn't gather that from anything outside of yourself. Mm-hmm. You were able to find all that you needed right within you. That's the point to all this.
Right.
Yeah. Bravo.
I love it.
I love it too.
Thank you for that question. What's next?
Okay, the next one. In what ways do you wish things were different? Like, in what ways do you wish people in your life were different? In what situations do you wish were different in order for you to feel better?
Oh, gosh.
I know it's another tough one.
So many. I'm going to turn it back to you, Tress.
Okay. I love this. So here's the thing. We've talked about I'm dating, right? And I see some things that are coming up in my dating life that are giving me a signal from the person that I'm dating. And I've learned so much over the past years of self-growth and returning to myself. And so I can look at the person and go, wow, I really wish that was different. Or I could do the other thing that I used to do, Brenda, which was to fall in love with that person's potential.
Oh, yeah.
Not with how they're actually currently behaving on a daily basis. There's so many other things. So there's about this much of the behavior that feels off to me, and this much of the behavior that's wonderful. So I tend to go towards the wonderful and kind of scoot the other under and ignore it, instead of going, hold on a minute, this is actually really happening. Don't fall in love with potential, fall in love with the actual moment. Become a lover of reality, because that's where truth is. You know exactly what to expect, and then you can master moment by moment your decisions and return to home.
Right.
So if I fall in love with this person's potential, and it doesn't be that they're falling in love with their own self and treating themselves the way they deserve, this is going to come back to bite me later if I don't listen and trust what I'm feeling about it now. And that's returning to self. So it's actually me sitting down and honoring. So I'm telling this person, and I had a beautiful trust conversation with this person the other day where I said, I'm feeling this way about this. And what I've learned and grown into is that I need certain things in my life in order to move forward with my relationships. If you feel that fits you, wonderful. If not, we may not have any future together. Oh my gosh, was that a freeing thing? It allowed me to not go, I wish you were different, doing things differently. It just allowed me to go, wow, I'm seeing this, but I'm going to honor and respect you right where you are, because I can't bring you along with me. I don't want to drag anybody along, but if you're wanting to do things on your own, we're probably going to be able to make something work out. If not, I got to run.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's beautiful, right?
Right.
So instead of wanting that person to change, I decided how I was going to change the way I was thinking and believing and behaving, and what my choices going forward were going to be, which I'm telling you, when you return back inward, it gives you so much power.
Right.
And it also frees you up over lamenting and worrying over somebody else's thing that you cannot control.
What are they going to do next? Right.
Yeah. You just return and you go, what are my values? What are my core beliefs? What am I saying? What's a no for me and what's a heck yes for me?
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love the heck yes.
Right?
It's not a heck yes.
It's a no.
I love it. Trying to live more that way.
Not going to work out so much if it's a no, right?
Right. Okay. What's the next one?
Okay, so this is the third one. So we talk about unconditional love, right?
Right.
And so a lot of the time when we're looking outside of ourselves for our love, safety, and belonging, what we can say a lot of the time is that I'm going to just need you to be a little different in order for me to be happy right now, or I'm going to suffer, right? So whenever you are looking for your love, safety, and belonging on an external level, you suffer. Whenever you want something outside of you to be any different than what the truth and reality is that it's showing you, you are going to suffer. And the other situation, they may not have any idea of your suffering at all. They're just going about literally behaving the way that they're going to behave every day.
Right.
So unconditional love says, I have come to terms that I'm going to love you exactly how you are right now, no matter what. And if I need something to change, I'm going to change it within myself and find the happiness within. So it is becoming a lover of reality automatically reduces your suffering. When you can go, I love you just as you are, and I don't need anything to change in order for me to be happy.
What about their shoes on the floor all the time?
Okay, you've got to decide. Okay, so here's the thing. The shoes on the floor, if you look at the person and you go, how long have the shoes been on the floor? Are the shoes on the floor every single day? They are. That's up to you, in my opinion, to pick up the shoes and go put the shoes away and relieve yourself of the stress and strain of that. If what you want is the shoes put away, just put them away. Yeah. So what we do is we suffer all the way from the moment we see the shoes, and we get frustrated or we get angry because we've asked for the shoes to be picked up 50 million times.
And obviously they don't love us very much if they're just leaving them there and they know that it's bothering me.
Oh yeah, they don't care about you. They don't care about what's important to you. We go into this whole story of self-talk where we leave ourselves into suffering, and we participate in a whole story of suffering. And the thing is that we can create so much unrest, and then we finally pick the shoes up, or we get mad at someone in our life, which takes us out of love, and we yell or we get angry or whatever, which brings you down the emotional ladder. Instead of being in a state of bliss and love here, you're back up into your head, right? Thinking and lamenting and getting angry. The shoes are going to get picked up. So you're circling around. You're either going to get from here to getting the shoes picked up with acceptance and love and just pick them up, or you're going to get from here to there, creating so much unrest, and finally get the shoes picked up after yelling to get them picked up, but you don't feel near as good as you do if you just accepted and picked the shoes up and they were done and you moved on. You're still going to get to the same result, but it's all of the suffering you're going to go through getting there.
So you could really say unconditional love is being a little selfish, because you're only allowing your focus to fall on the things that you really love.
Yes.
And if something is falling out of that, deal with it and don't deliberate it.
You know, a good example of this would be that if you got out of your car and on the ground was a McDonald's bag and wrapper and cup, and you could curse and cuss the person that threw it out of their car window into the parking lot, and you could go through all sorts of, why did people do this? Why do they behave that way? And that energy, and then if you leave it thinking someone is going to come and pick it up, maybe the attendant, you get nowhere. Or you went through all the cursing and frustration and you picked it up and threw it in the trash. You still get to the same result as going, oh, it's unfortunate that people feel the need to do that way. They must not have learned something, or they must whatever, but my map and my upbringing tells me I'm going to pick that up right now and toss it in the trash and move on.
Yeah.
And you get a sense of love and pride and joy in doing those types of things, and you don't carry that frustration and anger with you along the way and the suffering that's needless. This doesn't say that we don't have boundaries, okay? So I want to actually address that just really, really quick.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
You gain your power back when you have a boundary. And so if you can say to a person, the shoes are really bothering me and I really would love it if you could decide to pick those up. But you got to be willing to let go and have a boundary for yourself that just says, I'm not going to participate in the suffering of that anymore. And that's a type of boundary. It's not necessarily a boundary for the other person. It's a boundary for yourself to go, my choice is to let go of the shoes.
Yeah.
The worry of the shoes. That's a self-created boundary that you live within, that you have all the control over, that you return to and go, I'm going to choose not to let that bother me in my life anymore.
Right.
I mean, if it's a huge problem, if you've got a major problem, an issue that is a serious issue with something or a person in your life, that may be an issue that you need to address where you don't have that person in your life anymore. Let's be
Right.
real, right?
Yeah, shoes is a
Shoes
small
is a
account,
really small
a small
thing.
thing, but there are lots of big things out
Yep,
there.
there are, and this is not to say with any means. I actually means the that you need the boundaries. You need the boundaries, but it's how you get to the solution and the just consciously creating that, mastering that moment.
Internal feelings you allow.
Absolutely. The turmoil that you decide to put yourself through of wanting something outside of yourself to be different. You get to adjust all of that within.
Love it.
So it's the choice to return to love, self-love, and love yourself through each moment.
Right.
It takes practice, Brenda. It takes practice. Were you taught to live this way?
No.
Well, neither was I. I was taught that so-and-so should get their shit together and do it better so that I can be happier. I was taught to get a new boyfriend or a new this or I wasn't taught to return to love. So I know I would like to just kind of close with something, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. Maybe some tips, or what do you got for us?
Yeah. I just wrote down a few notes so I could stay on track today. What can you do to strengthen your relationship and your connection with yourself? So after kind of going through some of this, what comes to mind, or was there an aha moment for you that you felt could help you return inward?
Well, I think allowing myself a few minutes a day throughout the day to just be quiet and get re in touch with my inner feelings, to go, because sometimes those things appear to me then. But if you don't give yourself that time to be quiet, you just are on autopilot. So that's one thing.
Yeah, you're right about autopilot. Joe Dispenza, one of my favorite scientists in study of people, talks a lot about how your body starts to take over and you just are becoming, your body actually has all this memory and you're not even thinking for yourself anymore and you're going through the motions. So what you've just said is extremely valuable, taking that time to get still so you can feel your intuition and really have heart-brain coherence, so that you're not just running off the brain, you're running off the connection between your heart center and then what logically you feel about that. So awesome. One of the things that time allows for, Brenda, which I wrote down here, is listening to yourself. If you have your phone in front of you all the time, or if you constantly have something going, busyness, those types of things, and sometimes we self-medicate with our busyness, especially as moms and of wives and mothers and things like that. Listening to yourself. One of the things that you said in the beginning of this was that you were curious. Getting curious about your words and your thoughts. If you don't give yourself the space to get curious about what you just said, if you're saying, oh my gosh, that's so hard. Oh my gosh, I can't do that. Oh my gosh, I hate that. Your brain now is creating towards what you just said. I use this example all the time. If you tell a little kid to stop running, the brain just hears the word running. It's still focused on running. But if you say, please walk, now we're focused on walk. Your brain is focusing on your thoughts and your words are very powerful. So what are you saying to yourself? What are you listening to and allowing in?
Speak to what you want and desire. And the outcome you're looking for.
Exactly. Our brains go to the worst case scenario first because anything underneath that is survivable. So what if we thought from what could be the best case scenario? What if we went to there first, right?
I love it.
I love it too.
Love it.
Show up for yourself. It's extremely important that you show up for yourself. And if you have a difficult time doing this, if you've set goals that are larger than what what you've known yourself to be able to show up for at this point, it's okay. That just is a pointing in the direction, right? So if you're like, wow, I overextended my goal this time, or I set something too large, back up a little bit. Start with something a little bit smaller that's obtainable and reachable for you, because then you learn to trust yourself. When you give yourself a command and you make a decision and you say, I'm gonna sweep the patio every morning at 10. That's just something that I'm going to use as an example. When you show up every morning, now it just becomes, and your body is saying to you, no, I'd rather just sit and watch some more TV or another episode, or I want to sleep in, or I don't want to get up early. Tell yourself, give yourself a command, follow the command, and you will just explode like a lotus flower when you start following through and teaching yourself that you can trust the self. So show up for yourself, and it can be in the tiniest way possible, and just repeat it over and over again, because you're like, wow, I just showed up for myself. Wow, I didn't react to that moment. I gave Brenda's words wisdom, and I paused for a second, and then I was able to respond because I thought about it, right? It could be tiny things.
Right.
Okay.
Love it. Good.
Repeatedly turn inward. So this is about mastering the moment. If you start feeling yourself pointing at something outside, we do that a lot. If you see your brain trying to make meaning out of something going on outside of yourself, just even if you have to use a hand gesture and pull it, just grab it, pull it back in, use your physiology and go, wait, hold on a second, I'm projecting, I'm making meaning out of something, grab it, pull it back in, reel it back in, do the dance, reel it back in. I don't know what the heck you got to do to change your physiology, lighten it up a little bit and go, hold on, I'm returning to the self right now. Yeah. And smile and go, wow, that was really cool. I just did something for myself. I caught myself in a moment where I was looking for all the stuff I need outside.
And sometimes, isn't it just when it's something you're seeing outside, just looking at it and going, well, isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Next.
Yes. That's a whole nother topic. Not attaching yourself to the thing. Just going, that doesn't belong to me. Right. I'm not going to own that.
I love it.
I'm not going to own the behavior, all that. So what the point is of a lot of this that I notice is that when you turn inward, Brenda, you speak so much and help so many women about their point in midlife and making these connections and connecting with friendship and things like that. When you become this person that you want to be and you show up for yourself repeatedly, you're naturally going to draw in and have people around you who do the same. You're automatically going to become a mirror and attract those people into your life.
You are a magnet for whatever you're putting out.
Yes, and you'll be a better friend to the people who you do draw in.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and have so much more joy and that sense of belonging.
Let me just add one last thing. If you took every person off of this planet, who would you be left with?
Yourself.
So what if the people you're relying on for all these things went away suddenly?
Just you.
You would just have you. And isn't it great to know you'd be there for yourself?
Yes, and you like yourself. And you love yourself.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Love it.
Good stuff today.
Thank
you so much.
Thank
you.
Well,
gosh, is that a wrap?
That's it for me.
For today, guys. So, hey, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Share this with a friend.
Yeah.
Definitely follow us here on YouTube or any of the other channels that you might be listening to. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. Everything. We're out there. Share us and follow us, and we love having you with us. Until next time. When three or more gather, we are tribe.
Bye.